Good evening, everyone, and thank you for taking part in this live teletown hall meeting with Congressman Scott Tipton. Over the course of this call, Congressman Tipton will provide an update on some of the critical issues he is working on in Washington, as well as take your questions on the issues that are on your mind. If you would like to ask Congressman Tipton a question or make a comment at any time, please press the 0 key on your phone keypad. If you would like to receive periodic email updates from Congressman Tipton on the work he is doing for the district, you can sign up by visiting the website at www.tipton.house.gov. Again, if you're just joining us, this is a live teletown hall meeting with Congressman Scott Tipton. And over the course of this call, Congressman Tipton will provide an update on some of the critical issues he is working on in Washington, as well as take your questions on the issues that are on your mind. If you would like to ask Congressman Tipton a question or make a comment, please press the 0 key on your phone keypad at any time. Again, please press the 0 key on your phone keypad at any time to ask a question or make a comment. With that, we'll start with some opening remarks from Congressman Scott Tipton.
Well, thank you, everyone, for taking time to be able to join us this evening, and look forward to being able to hear your thoughts in our conversation. Did want to be able to give you an update on a few things that we've just recently been working on. On the House side, we have passed a repeal of Dodd-Frank. That we've sent over to the Senate. They passed their own version, and we're continuing to advocate for a number of the provisions that we had on the House side, including two bills of mine which just passed the House of Representatives with good bipartisan support. These were to be able to have the Exam Fairness Act, and then also to make sure that we're giving that real opportunity for our businesses to be able to have real recourse in terms of being able to address maybe a disagreement of opinion in terms of some of the exam cycles that are going on, and making sure that our small community banks are going to have that opportunity to be able to grow. We have been able to also include in legislation our Planning for America's Energy Future Act, also our Build Water Rights Protection Act, and then also the Healthy Forest Management Act. So those are going to be important issues for us to be able to address. We just had, as everyone has heard, the omnibus that went through, which are all ugly bills. I think it is important to note from the House side that there was no need for an omnibus. We had passed all 12 appropriations bills out of the House of Representatives. Unfortunately, as the President recently noted, it is going to be necessary to be able to get 60 votes out of the United States Senate. The importance of this, as I visited with General Mattis, the chairman of the Department of Defense, Secretary of the Department of Defense. He noted that 60% of our Navy planes are not able to fly. We have ships that are not able to sail. And we have men and women right now that are in harm's way, and shutting down the government and them not receiving a paycheck should not be an option. Believe that that's important to make sure that our men and women in the military do have the important materials that they need to be able to conduct as safely as possible the missions that this nation gives them. And General Mattis puts forward a very compelling argument when we look at the threats out of China, out of North Korea, out of Russia, and out of Iran as well that are facing the United States military and our brave men and women who do serve this country. So those are a few issues that we've currently been working on, and appreciate all of you for taking the time to be able to be with us this evening, and look forward to your questions.
And we want to thank everybody for joining us this evening. This is a live teletown hall meeting with Congressman Scott Tipton. And if you're just joining us, over the course of this call, Congressman Tipton will provide an update on some of the critical issues he is working on in Washington on behalf of the 3rd Congressional District. He will also take your questions on the issues that are on your mind. If you would like to ask Congressman Tipton a question or make a comment at any time, please press the 0 key on your phone keypad. Again, if you would like to ask Congressman Tipton a question or make a comment, please press the 0 key on your phone keypad at any time. If you'd like to receive periodic email updates from Congressman Tipton on the work he's doing for the district, you may sign up by visiting the website at www.tipton.house.gov. Again, this is a live teletown hall meeting with Congressman Scott Tipton. And for our first question, we're going to go to Steve in La Plata County.
Hi, Steve. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having us, Congressman. I have a quick question. I'm down in Durango, and I just moved here from Texas, and I'm a veteran. And I'm just wondering what you're doing to improve our access to care, because I have to go to Albuquerque, New Mexico to receive my care. And it's just, I need something closer. I need a hospital or be able to visit some type of physician.
Well, Steve, I really appreciate you bringing this up. We have actually one of the highest per capita veterans populations here in the 3rd Congressional District. And as you note, out of southwest Colorado, having to make that 4.5-hour drive down to Albuquerque, 4.5 hours back, is a real burden. Have the same issue out of Pueblo, having to be able to drive up to the VA facilities up in Denver, and also out of Craig, out of Routt County, having to drive over icy roads to be able to get to a clinic or to be able to get to the VA in Grand Junction. We did pass through the House the Choice Act to be able to provide opportunities for veterans like you to be able to seek out that local care for areas that VA definitely has areas that they're going to be able to specialize in. But if you have a cold, if you have maybe a broken ankle or something from skiing or hiking, to be able to get that taken care of locally is the idea of the Choice Act, and we're continuing to work and improve that. In fact, Senator Gardner and I have introduced together, he on the Senate side and me on the House side, the Veterans Improved Access to Care Act, and that will expand access to the medical care for American veterans and take in some really important measures to be able to reduce the wait times if going into the VA healthcare system as well. We've also passed the Warrior Act to be able to help some of our military people in adaptive sports be able to participate in programs. And then also we have a bill that we've introduced asking the Secretary to be able to make sure that we're going to have veterans who have served in the Vietnam War and have a variety of complications now that are coming up to be able to have actual access to care as well. So our VA, and I've had the opportunity to visit the VA out in Grand Junction. And we've got some great dedicated people, not only in terms of the administrative staff, but the doctors and the nurses who are there to be able to provide that care. But we also want to make sure that you're able to get that care in Durango or in Bayfield or Cortez to have it close to you at home if it isn't a specialty of the VA as well. So we're going to continue to work on that, and I do want to thank you for your service to our country.
We want to thank everybody for joining us this evening. This is a live teletown hall meeting with Congressman Scott Tipton, and over the course of this call, Congressman Tipton will provide an update on some of the critical issues he is working on in Washington, as well as take your questions on the issues that are on your mind. If you would like to ask Congressman Tipton a question or make a comment at any time, please press the 0 key on your phone keypad. If you would like to receive periodic email updates from Congressman Tipton on the work he is doing for the 3rd District, you may sign up for free by visiting the website at www.tipton.house.gov. And for those of you who are just joining us, we also want to share a phone number with you this evening. If you are experiencing issues dealing with a federal agency, including the IRS, Medicare, Social Security, Veterans Affairs, or immigration issues, please call our office in Grand Junction at 970-241-2499. Again, that's 970-241-2499, and we may be able to assist you with your issue. Again, please feel free to give us a call, and we'll do what we can to assist you with your issue. For our next question, we're going to go to Delos in Fruta.
Hi, Delos.
Yes, Congressman, thank you for holding this conference, and you've already probably partially answered the question regarding the recent omnibus budget thing. Okay, given that you felt that the defense priorities were very important, which they are, how do we prevent this sort of process from continuing, going under continuing resolution and this omnibus process? What's the way forward out of this?
You bring up, and I appreciate the question. You bring up a really important point. We've got a broken budgetary process. What has really hurt our military has been continuing resolutions, which are limited in terms of where and how you're going to be able to spend the money. And again, I'll underscore, on the House side, we did pass all 12 appropriations bills. The problem that we really see is on the Senate side. And been in a variety of circumstances, and somebody will say, oh, you're pointing the finger. No, it happens to be constitutional. We can pass it through the House, but it then has to be able to go through the Senate to be able to get it on the president's desk with the 12 appropriations bills. I've advocated for an extended period of time. I think on our appropriations bills, if they want to limit it, to be able to get rid of the 60-vote rule. These are important in terms of making sure that the priorities are funded in the areas where we would like to be able to see them funded. And that's a big problem with the omnibus. You get the choice of, do you fund the military or do you continue to send men and women out with ships that will not sail or planes that cannot fly, having mechanics going out into boneyards to be able to pick up scrap pieces to try and be able to make them workable, and then putting our sons and daughters into those to be able to carry out combat missions. None of us want that. So I think on the Senate side, I hope they'll consider it. And we have a resolution that we're going to be introducing with the military in particular, because I hope you're like me. I get infuriated, frankly, that we have the military being used in terms of driving an overall appropriations bill. When it comes to our national defense, I believe this needs to be standalone. We put this forward and vote on the defense for our country, for men and women who are willing to put their lives on the line to be able to protect us. So those are two options to be able to look at it. The House has went ahead and passed all of the appropriations bills. Had the Senate done the same thing, there would have been no omnibus. We would have had the budget process actually fulfilled. But I think that a step for the Senate to consider is on appropriations bills, have it passed by simple majority, not the 60-vote rule that's employed. And then the second option is what we're introducing is to be able to have the military appropriations as a standalone measure when it comes to the appropriations, to have those go through.
And we want to thank everybody for joining us this evening. This is a live teletown hall meeting with Congressman Scott Tipton. And if you're just joining us, over the course of this call, Congressman Tipton will provide an update on some of the critical issues he is working on in Washington, as well as take your questions on the issues that are on your mind. If you would like to ask Congressman Tipton a question or make a comment at any time, please press the 0 key on your phone keypad. If you would like to receive periodic email updates from Congressman Tipton on the work he is doing for the 3rd District, please visit the website at www.tipton.house.gov, and you can sign up there. We also want to share a phone number with you this evening for those of you just joining us. If you're experiencing issues dealing with a federal agency, including the IRS, Medicare, Social Security, Veterans Affairs, or immigration issues, please call our office in Grand Junction at 970-241-2499. Again, that's 970-241-2499, and we may be able to assist you with those issues. For our next question, we're going to go to Johnny in Eagle County.
Hi, Johnny. Thanks for being with us.
Hi, good evening. I apologize. Sorry. First of all, thank you, Congressman, for your service to our country, and to the men and women that are listening on this conference call for their service to our country. We here in Eagle County greatly appreciate it. Congressman, my question has to do in two parts, one with both the military and the VA with their health care, and here in Eagle County, we continue to have some of the highest health care costs in the country. When do you, well, not you in particular, but when can we expect the Congress and the Senate to repeal Obamacare to help us get back to a normal sense of health care costs? My family of four, I'm a father, married to a wife of 23 years with 2 beautiful daughters, and my health care costs are well over $1,500 a month for standard health care insurance, and that's not even a low deductible plan. I happen to be a health insurance broker as well, so I can see what the health care costs, the plans cost. But when can we expect Senate to follow suit with the House and actually repeal and put something in place that's going to help us out?
Well, Johnny, I appreciate the question. When going to your first point in regards to the military and access to care, we are continuing to work on the CHOICE Act. When I visited with the chairman of the committee, he wanted me to be able to stress to all of our veterans that the CHOICE Act was not the end but the beginning, and knew there would be problems. We need to make sure that the physicians are being paid in a timely manner so that they will take this on and to be able to provide that service locally. Do need to be able to support the VA as well, but to be able to hold that actually accountable in terms of how the dollars are spent. We're seeing some great things going on at the VA in Grand Junction. We saw $1 billion overrun at the VA over in Denver, in Aurora. Dollars that could have been used to be able to provide health care actually for our veterans. And so I think we are making progress. We're hearing some positive feedback from veterans, but as issues do come up, please feel free to reach out to our office. We do want to be able to assist and to make sure that the system is working for the people who earn those benefits. When we're talking about general health care, you continue to point to something that we've heard throughout the district. You live in what's called a resort area, which pays some of the highest costs, certainly in Colorado, maybe in the nation, in regards of receiving health care. What we proposed out of the House of Representatives was to repeal and replace, to be able to provide real choice for consumers to be able to pick the plans that are going to be able to actually work for them, to be able to buy across state lines, to be able to come together in groups. Where you are a broker, you understand the larger the group, probably the better rate. There were ideas that were out if you belong to a utility, if you belong to the Cattlemen's Association, you pick the association. They could have come together as a large group to be able to negotiate lower rates, to be able to drive those costs down. And making sure that we've got real access to care, which is a real challenge in a lot of rural Colorado right now, to be able to address it. On the Senate side, they failed to act, to be able to bring forward real legislation. We have passed now the elimination of the individual mandate in the Tax Cut and Jobs Act to put through, to be able to give people a choice in terms of what they want to do and how they want to handle their health care issues. But I think critically, to be able to drive those costs down, first of all, we need to give real choice to people, not just 3 programs that the government chooses, but real choice within the marketplace to be able to meet individual family needs, to be able to address it, be able to allow those groups to form, to be able to get better buying power, to be able to drive it down. And again, in terms of choice, be able to create real competition, to be able to buy across state lines. And we hope that the Senate will act on this. On the House side, we put a bill, passed it, and we unfortunately didn't see action on the Senate side, but we are going to continue to encourage them.
We want to thank everybody for joining us this evening. This is a live teletown hall meeting with Congressman Scott Tipton. And for those of you just getting on the call, over the course of the call, Congressman Tipton will provide an update on some of the critical issues he's working on in Washington, as well as take your questions on the issues that are on your mind. If you would like to ask Congressman Tipton a question or make a comment at any time, please press the 0 key on your phone keypad. If you'd like to receive periodic email updates from Congressman Tipton on the work he's doing for the district, you may sign up by visiting the website at www.tipton.house.gov. We also want to share a phone number with you this evening. If you are experiencing issues dealing with a federal agency, including the IRS, Medicare, Social Security, Veterans Affairs, or immigration issues, please give our office in Grand Junction a call at 970-241-2499. Again, that's 970-241-2499. And we will get back to you, and somebody may be able to assist you with that issue. For our next question, we're going to go to Mark in Crestone.
Mark, thanks for being with us.
Thank you very much, Congressman. I appreciate you setting up this phone call that we're able to talk with you in person. My question has to deal with what is your stance on gun control? And secondly, are you going to continue accepting funds from the NRA?
thanks, Mark. I think we were all devastated when we saw what happened down in Florida. That, as we have now learned, there was abject failure on the FBI. In 2017, they were made aware of the person who conducted this crime and carried that out. There was ultimate failure really through the process, even when the shooting was going on, in terms of law enforcement going in and interacting and trying to be able to save the people that were in there. This is an issue that we're going to have a lot of conversation on, and I think it's going to be starting within our communities in terms of school safety. We did pass the Stop School Violence Act through the House of Representatives to be able to provide funds, and this is now going to be signed into law, I believe, to be able to provide dollars back into our communities, to be able to create school safety for mental health, also for training, for planning, to be able to address it. We need to be able to protect our Second Amendment and to make sure that that amendment, which is just as important and just as invaluable as any other amendment, is protected. But we need to make sure that we are keeping guns out of criminals, and when we have notice, as we did apparently down in Florida and in other locations as well, to make sure that the system is actually working to be able to protect our people and to address it. And I think that it's important that we go into this conversation, and we need to address really one important point is what has changed societally as well, to where this becomes a method of how people respond to something that's maybe going on in their lives when it didn't used to happen. People have had guns in this country for as long as we've had a country. But some of the things that are taking place had never taken place before, and we need to be having community conversations as well as to what has changed, that has now become a method of carrying out something to deal with an issue that an individual may have. And so we're going to continue to focus on it, and I'll support the Second Amendment. We'll continue to support the Second Amendment, but we are going to be doing what we can to make sure that we are keeping our schools safe, keeping our communities safe, and keeping the guns out of the hands of not only criminals but people that should not have them. We just passed the Fix NICS bill, which is now going to be signed into law. The House had passed it last year, and fortunately now is also cleared through the Senate and is now going to become law for the National Instant Criminal Background Check as well, to be able to address it. And I'm going to continue to focus on this, as I think is in our communities and in our families, we should be addressing it.
We want to thank everybody for joining us. This is a live teletown hall meeting with Congressman Scott Tipton. And over the course of the call, Congressman Tipton will provide an update on some of the critical issues he is working on in Washington, as well as take your questions on the issues that are on your mind. If you would like to ask Congressman Tipton a question or make a comment at any time, please press the 0 key on your phone keypad. We have a number of folks in the queue now working through these questions as quickly as possible, so thank you for being patient, staying on the line. We will try to get through as many as possible before the conclusion of the call. And then if you would like to sign up for a free e-newsletter update on the work Congressman Tipton is doing on behalf of the 3rd Congressional District, please visit the website at www.tipton.house.gov. You may sign up there. For the next question, we're going to go to Ray in Meeker.
Hi, Ray.
Hi, this is Ray Mallet. You helped me once, Congressman, on the VA here just recently, and my question was on an appeal. You came back at 2 to 3 years before you ever hear anything back from the VA. And I know they're busy and they got all the stuff, but that seemed to me a extreme amount of time when they could make that in individual districts and take care of it in-house instead of having to send it someplace else, And so that has a heartburn for me. And then the other the real question I had too on this is on this deal they talked about on the school shootings and stuff. And two issues on that. One of them is, why don't they hire some people that know what's going on instead of rent-a-cops half the time? That doesn't work. I was a cop in a rifle once on the police force, and this is ridiculous of what they're doing. So they need to get together, and it'd be a place for the seasoned people and stuff like that. It's not afraid to tackle a job head on. That's what they sign up for, is to protect and serve. And so it's going to take a lot of work on you guys' part to get this done without having full gun control. So anyway, thanks for your help.
Well, appreciate your comments, Ray, and thanks for being part of this. On your VA issue that you're talking about, we do need to be able to streamline some of the appeals processes, and also to make sure we're getting near-term responses coming back with medical issues, whatever the veteran needs to be able to have addressed. And if there's something that we can help you with specifically on that, if you'll just reach out to our Grand Junction office, we'd be more than happy to be able to do our best to assist you. Our number there is 970-241-2499, and do appreciate your service to our country as well.
And for those of you just joining us, this is a live teletown hall meeting with Congressman Scott Tipton. And over the course of this call, Congressman Tipton will provide an update on some of the critical issues he's working on in Washington, as well as take your questions on the issues that are on your mind. If you would like to ask Congressman Tipton a question or make a comment at any time, please press the 0 key on your phone keypad. If you'd like to receive periodic email updates from Congressman Tipton on the work he is doing for the district, please visit the website at www.tipton.house.gov, and we'll get you signed up for that. Also, we want to share a phone number with you this evening for those of you who just got on or didn't get to take it down before. If you are experiencing issues dealing with a federal agency, including the IRS, Medicare, Social Security, Veterans Affairs, or Immigration, please call our office in Grand Junction at 970-241-2499. Again, that's 970-241-2499, and we may be able to assist you with that issue. For our next question, we're going to go to Larry in Grand Junction.
Hi, Larry.
Hi there. The question I had basically was one over the Second Amendment. I think you covered that quite satisfactorily a few minutes ago, so I don't think you need to repeat it. But I wanted to mention that the VA here in Grand Junction has been very good for me, and I think they do a commendable job, and I would like to just let you know that. I've had only choice program. I've used it for my glasses, and I've had no problem with that. It's just doing, jumping through the hoops like you're supposed to, get a hold of your primary care and have them put you on the choice thing, and it'll be taken care of. So that's about it for me. Thank you.
Well, thanks, Larry, and appreciate your feedback on that. As I noted, had the opportunity to be able to go over and tour the VA, and Michael, the administrator, some of what they're doing with prostheses and just the general care is critically important for our veterans. But I'm pleased to hear that for you, the Choice Act is working positively. We know there's still work to be done and things to be smoothed out to make sure that that's working seamlessly for a lot of our veterans. But I do appreciate that, and we'll certainly pass that on to the VA.
Very good. I think they've only been going a couple of years, and it probably wasn't formulated real well when they started, and they had to work out a lot of the kinks that were in it. So,
well, I think you're right, and we'll continue to work and make sure that we're getting it. You earned your benefits, and we need to make sure you don't have to work to get those benefits, and make it as easy as we possibly can. So, and thank you for your service to our country.
And we want to thank everybody for joining us this evening for this live teletown hall meeting with Congressman Scott Tipton. If you would like to ask Congressman Tipton a question or make a comment, please press the 0 key on your phone keypad at any time, and we will get you in the queue here. We do have a number of questions waiting, and we're going to try to get through as many of those as possible before the end of the call. So thank you for your patience for everybody who is currently waiting. We are currently working through those as quickly as possible. And then one other thing we want to make sure we emphasize, if you are experiencing an issue with federal agency, including the IRS, Medicare, Social Security, Veterans Affairs, or immigration issues, please give our office a call in Grand Junction at 970-241-2499, and we may be able to assist you with that issue. Again, that number is 970-241-2499. For the next question, we're going to go to Martha in Garfield County.
Hi, Martha. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you for taking my question. I was wondering what you might be doing to make healthcare more affordable for rural communities. I'm in Garfield County, and when I priced out an MRI that I needed, it was several $1,000s less if I drove to Grand Junction to have it done versus in Garfield County. And just so you know, I'm middle class, small business owner, a mom, a volunteer, and a teacher. So I feel like healthcare isn't affordable for me.
Well, and thanks, Martha. Unfortunately, throughout our district, we continue to hear about the cost of health care. And the Affordable Care Act has not been affordable for a lot of our constituents in the 3rd District. Garfield County does happen to fall into that category of a resort community as well, meaning that the prices are going to be higher for the identical plan that's going to be sold in Denver. People who live in rural Colorado get to pay a premium for that. That was the purpose of the legislation that we passed through the House of Representatives, and unfortunately the Senate did not act on to be able to provide lower costs, more choice to be able to do it. But I think the point that you bring up as you were speaking in terms of price transparency as well is something that can help impact some of the costs. There are certainly some delivery costs that are going to be higher given an area, but I think consumers need to be made aware of those costs and to be able to have that ability to be able, if it's not a medical emergency, to be able to go to where they're going to be able to get that lower cost. So we're going to continue to advocate for that. We're strong proponents of the community health care centers, which do provide health care in a lot of our rural communities that are impacted. But you're citing what we were trying to address out of the House of Representatives with our legislation to be able to actually lower those costs, and we'll continue to work on that and get the ideas out of our communities to be able to drive that down. We are seeking a lot of the solutions in terms of the cost of medication, costs of the delivery as well, to be able to address what is an ongoing challenge for so many of us that live in rural America.
And we want to thank everybody for joining us this evening for this live teletown hall meeting with Congressman Scott Tipton. If you would like to ask Congressman Tipton a question or make a comment at any time, please press the 0 key on your phone keypad. If you would like to sign up for free e-newsletter updates on the work that Congressman Tipton is doing on behalf of the 3rd Congressional District in Washington, please visit the website at www.tipton.house.gov, and you can sign up there. We're going to go to Lynn in Grand Junction for our next question.
Hi, Lynn. Thanks for being with us.
Good evening, Representative Tipton. I've been listening for a little bit now, and you pretty much answered my question, and I was extremely disappointed with the omnibus bill. Really feel like I have 5 grandchildren, and it's devastating for our future generations, and I don't understand why, you folks in Washington, and I think the House gets it better than the Senate, but we are saddling our future generations with incredible debt, and I don't know how we change that mentality, because it's like I just don't feel like so many in Washington can relate to us. But you did vote for it. When you voted for it, I understand that it was before it went to the Senate where that was changed. Is that correct? Or
yeah. on the omnibus bill, you had a variety of changes that were put into it, and the problem that you really pass, and Lynn, you point out something that's I think every American agrees with. Omnibuses are not good things. The challenge that we had was we'd passed the appropriations bills, all 12 appropriations bills, through the House of Representatives. The Senate did not act. There was actually no need for an omnibus had they passed the appropriations bills. And that's where you can actually get in and to be able to direct the spending, to make sure that it's going to the priorities, to make sure that you're cutting wasteful spending and making positive choices on behalf of the American people and future generations as well. What was included in this bill is, I think you probably heard that for our future generations is important, is our ability to be able to defend ourselves. And as General Mattis had pointed out when he had the opportunity to be able to visit with him and to be able to sit down through a couple of presentations, the erosion that we've seen in our military with the threats that we have that impact this country, have the potential to impact this country, could not be ignored. And a continuing resolution or a government shutdown to where men and women that are in harm's way today wouldn't get their paycheck during that period of time was not acceptable. We have to make sure that we are defending the country. That is one of the first obligations. And we also need to make sure that we're getting this budgetary process fixed. The 60-vote rule that is in the Senate has stopped the appropriations process for as long as I've had the privilege to be able to serve in this office. 51 votes, and if the people like what you've spent the money on, fine. If they don't, they'll let you know. And, but just to do nothing to be able to get to the 60-vote measure and to allow it to die, to be able to then create a scenario to where you have to have an omnibus, or you have the continuing resolutions, or you have a government shutdown. Neither of those two options. First of all, continuing resolution, the spending remains static. And that's what General Mattis pointed out over these last few years as we've gone from continuing resolution to continuing resolution. The dollars are directed. They remain static, and we've seen planes that have been taken out of service, ships that have not been able to sail, and we're expecting our men and women in the United States military to carry out the missions that we give them. And as we see the Chinese now building islands in disputed territory, the threat of Kim with an intercontinental ballistic missile. We see the Russians now engaged in Syria. We've got the Iranians getting delivery systems as well. We have real threats that are there, and that importance of being able to fund that military to make sure that our brave men and women in the military have the tools that they need to effectively carry out the mission and to be able to do it as safely as possible for them, I think we can all agree is important. And again, to underscore, I don't know if you were on the call at the beginning, but do have a piece of legislation that we're going to be putting forward that's going to have the military appropriation as a standalone bill. Again, it'd have to go through the Senate at this time with 60 votes, but we make that a standalone bill. Our nation's defense needs to be bipartisan, and it's, I think, and hope it's something that we do all support.
We want to thank everybody for joining us this evening, and thank those of you who are waiting to ask a question. We are working through them as quickly as possible. If you would like to ask Congressman Tipton a question and have not yet gotten in line, please press the 0 key on your phone keypad, and we will do the best we can to get through as many of these before the end of the call as we can. For those of you who are waiting to ask a question, and if you do not get the chance to do so by the time the call ends, please stay on the line. You will have the opportunity at the end of the call to leave a voicemail message, and you will get a call back within the next week or two with an answer to your questions, and Congressman Tipton will hear those questions and comments. So again, please don't drop off the call when it ends. If you're waiting to ask a question, stay on the line and you'll have the opportunity to ask a question. Again, for those of you who may be experiencing a issue with a federal agency, including the IRS, Medicare, Social Security, Veterans Affairs, or Immigration, please give our office in Grand Junction a call at 970-241-2499. Again, that's 970-241-2499, and we may be able to help you out with that issue. For our next question, we're going to go to Patty in Rifle.
Hi.
Hi, Patty. Thanks for taking time.
Tipton. Thank you so much for this phone call. My son, he graduated from the University of Colorado about 10 years ago. He wants to stay on the Western Slope. He has never found a full-time job. And reports I keep hearing are that 25%, or 1 out of 4 jobs currently in the United States, are going to be disappearing within the next 10 years due to automation and better technology. We are currently importing and have many, many illegals that work in low-tech jobs. Those are the jobs that are going to disappear. We cannot afford all the welfare that they are getting and all the assistance, much less all the welfare and assistance our own people are going to be needing as these jobs disappear. What can we do about, preventing illegals from coming in and deporting those that shouldn't be here, especially the criminals?
Well,
the jobs are going to disappear.
Well, I appreciate it, and it's kind of a twofold question that you asked, Patty. We all, I think, agree that we do need to be able to secure our border. And it's just not on a jobs issue. It's actually from terrorism, from drug cartels, some real threats that we need. We do need to be able to secure our border. And we need to make sure that we also have education in place, educational opportunities for our students to be able to have some of the background for the changing job market now, which is becoming a little more technical. We have passed legislation through the House to be able to provide some of those resources and access to be able to do that. We need to make sure that we're getting the economy stimulated, and we're actually seeing through the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act now, businesses are starting to invest to be able to expand and to be able to preserve jobs that we have, and hopefully now soon to be able to create new jobs and to be able to create those opportunities in our rural communities. And I think also dovetailed in there is going to be the expansion with some of that technology, making sure that we're getting broadband delivered into a lot of our rural communities. This is something that has been ongoing. Those of us who live in rural Colorado, we've gone through EagleNet. We have CAF2 right now with CenturyLink to be able to expand that out. We do have some new resources that are going to be coming in to be able to streamline putting in some of that broadband, making sure we're getting that deployed out, because it's gone from a luxury to actually being a necessity to be able to create those jobs. And the real challenge that we have is if we secure the border, we're dealing obviously with people that may come in and to be able to take jobs that can go to Americans. Visited with a gentleman down in Olathe that did offer some of the manual labor jobs that Americans would not take. And is picking some of the Olathe sweet corn. And so where we do have some labor needs to where those jobs are not being filled, having a verifiable guest worker program on some of those. But I think with your son, and I can certainly understand that. When I graduated from college, there weren't a lot of jobs either, and had to be inventive to be able to start a business or to be able to get by until you could develop something and find a job. And I think all of those elements coming together will address some of the challenges that certainly face a number of our communities. And for your son, I have a lot of empathy with you. You want to be able to keep your kids close, and they'd like to probably be able to live and work where they grew up, but they need to be able to have those job opportunities to be able to do that. And getting this economy moving in some of the other areas that I mentioned, I think are going to be positive steps in the right direction.
We want to thank everybody for joining us this evening. This is a live teletown hall meeting with Congressman Scott Tipton. For those of you still waiting to ask a question, please stay on the line. We're going to get through as many more as possible before the call concludes here. And then if you're still on the line at the conclusion of the call, please stay on, and you will have a chance to leave a message for Congressman Tipton that he will hear, and you will get a response back in the next couple of weeks to your question. For the next question, we're going to take Travis in Grand Junction.
Hi, Travis. Thanks for taking time.
Hey, Mr. Tipton. How are you, sir?
Good, thank you. Hope you're doing well.
Good. Yeah, so mine's just more of it's not necessarily a question, just more of an add-on. So I'm a millennial. I'm 26. I just started teaching. And I'm excited about my career, and, I'm going to be getting married here in the next year and, doing the whole family thing, which is awesome, excited for. The only thing that's super worrisome is about the health care. As a single guy, it's not too bad, but looking at getting married and starting a family, it just skyrockets the premium. And it's well over $1,000 a month. And it's just really concerning as far as, for the future of everything. Because, I'm a school teacher, so I don't make a whole lot of money, but I love what I do. So I just wanted to voice my concern about just the Obamacare and how it's driving up premiums. And I just appreciate you going to battle for us and doing what you can to try to get that taken care of. So,
well, Travis, first, congratulations on your upcoming marriage, and proud that you've got a job there in Junction and going to be working with our kids. And as I believe it was Martha out of Garfield County, throughout our district, throughout rural America, these costs are impacting families' ability to be able to have resources, to be able to provide for other things that they'd like to do, to be able to buy that house, to be able to buy clothing for your children. As we've seen the premiums continue to increase year over year. And I do believe we need to be doing what we can. We have acted on the House side, as you noted, to be able to try and provide real competition, real choice, and to be able to get those group savings in the teaching. I had visited a local school board here not long ago. They said they hadn't been able to give a raise to some of their teachers because even with a larger group, the rising costs, and this is under what is labeled as the Affordable Care Act, the rising cost of health care, the dollars were going there. So opening up those opportunities to be able to have real choice, real competition, allow groups to be able to come together, to be able to buy across state lines, those are, I think, positive steps in terms of being able to drive down, ultimately, health care costs while still providing real health care and real access to it for our families. So I do appreciate your concern on it, and we are going to continue to work on this. Thanks, Travis, and again, congratulations on your marriage coming up.
We want to thank all of you for joining us this evening for this live teletown hall meeting with Congressman Scott Tipton. We are coming towards the end of the call here, so if you do have a question, please stay on the line at the conclusion of the call, and you will be able to leave a voicemail with that question. We will get back to you with an answer as quickly as possible here in the next week or so. Again, if you are experiencing an issue with a federal agency, including IRS, Medicare, Social Security, Veterans Affairs, or immigration issues, please call our office in Grand Junction at 970-241-2499, and we may be able to assist you with that issue. For the final question, we're going to go to Will in the Roaring Fork Valley.
Hi, Will. Hi. Thanks for being with us.
Oh, thanks for having me, Congressman Tipton. I have a question about public lands. I want to thank you for the work you did down in the Hermosa Creek area, protecting that area as wilderness. And I guess I kind of have a two-part question. One is, you probably know public lands are really important to most of the folks across the western slope for hunting and snowmobiling and backpacking. So I'd love to hear just kind of your thoughts generally on protecting more public lands, but then also specifically where I live, there's a place called the Thompson Divide, which are kind of whole communities come together to protect and preserve as an area for ranching and recreation and just families going out. And the community kind of said, we don't think oil and gas is appropriate for that area. There's other places where it is, but in this spot where there's a lot of farmers and mountain bikers and snowmobilers, we want it left alone for that. So I just wondering if you could talk about protecting the Thompson Divide and protecting public lands.
Will, I appreciate you taking the time to be on. Obviously, the public lands, I grew up here. And like you, growing up, hunted, fished, hiked, going through them, and we all understand the value of those. And when we look out on them, we see them as our lands, and we want to be able to protect them. And I do think it is always important to be able to underscore that be they Forest Service lands, BLM lands, there are protections in place. Are there some areas that may require some additional protections in terms of being able to modify something to be able to address some individual concerns? There are. You cited one down in Hermosa Creek. We were able to get good community buy-in and to be able to advance legislation. Over at Chimney Rock National Monument, good community buy-in to where I think the meeting that Senator Bennett and I had attended, there was only one person in the room that was actually opposed to it. So there was a lot of good public support. Obviously, economically, this plays a very important role in our economy in terms of outfitters, the people in the stores selling the backpacking equipment, you name it. This plays a real important role in our economy. It's a part of that bigger, broader economy we have as well that we need to make sure that we're actually addressing. And had numerous conversations, obviously, on the Thompson Divide, and do want to continue to solicit the input. We've put forward several ideas to try and be able to try and resolve an issue for that particular area, to be able to have the leases bought out, to be able to make sure that we've got protections that are going to be in place, because we will protect our water. We need to make sure that that is done. We've got good experience, actually, at a lot of the traditional fuel source companies that responsibly develop to be able to do it safely. But that community input is going to continue to be important as we try and seek a solution and to be able to create a win-win for not only the community but also for responsible development in an all-of-the-above fashion for our energy. You might be interested to know I do have a bill that we have had passed through the House of Representatives, Planning for America's Energy Future Act, that does call for all of the above, and it starts out with wind, solar, geothermal, hydroelectric, oil, gas, oil shale, traditional fuel sources. And we got one of the two bills over the last couple of years that got really signed into law, the Small Hydroelectric and Jobs Act. To be able to protect some of those areas and responsibly develop some of the resources that we do have. And so I appreciate your concern and our shared valuing of our public lands and our ability to be able to hunt, fish, and to be able to have that access on it. And we'll appreciate your input as we do move forward.
We want to thank everybody for joining us this evening and spending your evening with us on this live teletown hall meeting with Congressman Scott Tipton. We have come to the conclusion of this teletown hall meeting. If you are still on the line and didn't get the opportunity to ask your question and still would like to ask a question, please stay on the line. At the conclusion of the call, you will have the opportunity to leave a message, and we will get back to you in the next week or so. Congressman Tipton will also hear all those messages that are left. With that, we're going to turn it back over to Congressman Tipton for some concluding remarks.
Thanks, Josh, and I do appreciate all of you taking time to be with us this evening and to be able to hear your thoughts and the issues that you're concerned about. One issue we didn't get to this evening that we are focusing on is the opioid and heroin abuse that we're seeing in a lot of our communities. devastating families. It knows no socioeconomic, geographical distinction. It is everywhere. And we've held now 10 roundtables throughout our district to be able to seek that local input, to be able to get resources out of Washington through Health and Human Services and recent spending bill. We're getting resources back into our communities to be able to address what is a growing plague on so many families across the country that we do need to be able to address. We're going to continue and do want to be able to get your feedback as well in terms of the Tax Cut and Jobs Act. As I've gone through and visited with individuals and some of our local Walmarts and grocery stores to our small businesses, people are seeing more of their hard-earned money stay now in their pockets to be able to provide for their families. And when I look back and Travis or Martha is talking about some of the health care costs that they're having to incur, that is important. Keep those dollars, as many as we can, in the hands of the people who actually earn it. But we do want to be able to hear your stories and your feedback on that as well, because there will certainly be adjustments as some time goes on to make sure that we've addressed some of the challenges of a very complex tax code to be able to undertake that. But I do want to thank all of you for taking time and sharing your thoughts this evening, and look forward to seeing you soon.